If you care about the NBA at all, there's probably a good chance you've argued who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan. Now, some of you guys might be Kobe fans, but we'll save that for a different video. If you want to see a video involving Kobe Bryant like this one, leave me a comment down below and make sure you tell me. Now, for the sake of today's experiment, what we're going to do is we're going to take Michael Jordan right here. You can see he's 99 overall, he's 19 years of age, and I basically took the purest form of Michael Jordan from the created players pool, brought him in. Now, how I've set this up is I've taken Michael Jordan, the best overall version of him, again, 99 overall, and we put him into the field as a Chicago Bull in today's NBA. Now, as you guys notice, there's not a single person on his team that is better than an 80 overall. I mean, his best player right now is going to be Robin Lopez, Bobby Portis. We got all those guys right there. Now, if you're wondering about LeBron James, he's got kind of a stacked team. Don't worry, we fixed that. So you can see LeBron basically has LeBron. He has Dwayne Wade, who's an 80 overall, but again, no one higher than an 80 overall. He's got Jeff Green, Kyle Korver, some old guys, Derrick Rose, who can't seem to stay healthy. As you can see, there's no one else. Even the guys that are hurt are not very good. Now, a little twist that I've also put in this league, at least for the first year or two, we're going to have some real college players coming in here. So you can see Michael Porter Jr., Marvin Bagley, DeAndre Ayton, Colin Sexton, Luka Doncic even. We've got a lot of really good players that are also going to come into this league to see who kind of ends up being the greatest player of all time. So to find out who truly is the greatest of all time, I'm going to go ahead and sim the first season. We're going to see who wins the MVP, who wins the trophies. I don't know if it's going to be LeBron or Michael Jordan or what those guys are going to do, but we're going to see who can be the best player of all time. Let's get it started. At the end of season 1, surprise, surprise, Michael Jordan is the MVP. So bonus points for him right now. So we got Jordan the MVP with 33 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 4 steals a game. Yo, Jordan, maybe you are the GOAT. Now let's go ahead here. LeBron James gets Rookie of the Year. Technically, he was listed as a rookie in this one with 25.9, 9.6, 8.9, almost a triple-double in his rookie season. Not bad at all. Chris Bosh ends up being the 6th man of the year for the Clippers, which is kind of cool. Giannis ends up getting your Defensive Player of the Year, and your Most Improved Player goes to Kyle O'Quinn, averaging almost a double-double with 8 and 8 there. And your Coach of the Year, Mike D'Antoni, 56 and 26. Not bad. And if you're curious about the All-NBA team, Jordan and LeBron James both made the All-NBA first team. And also on the defensive side, both of them made the All-Defensive first team in the NBA too. Now the interesting thing is the Bulls got the 3rd seed in the NBA, the Cavaliers got the 6th seed, which means they're playing in the first round of the NBA playoffs, so this is going to be interesting. So we got nothing else to do but go ahead and simulating this round, so we're going to simulate and see what happens. The Bulls just eliminated the Cavaliers 3-1. So I actually misspoke. The Bulls technically beat them 4-1, not 3-1, but you get where I was going with that. So a clean sweep for them. We're going to simulate the playoffs, see what they can do. Yeah, the Chicago Bulls just got eliminated as well. And who would have guessed it? The Golden State Warriors are now your NBA champions for this season. And Steph Curry had a pretty good NBA Finals, 25 points per game, 7.5 assists, 2.5 steals. Not a bad NBA Finals for him at all. Now the Cavaliers have the 4th pick and the 18th pick in the first round, and they go with Wendell Carter out of Duke and Troy Brown out of Oregon. Not bad. What about the Bulls though? The Bulls ended up getting Cody Riley with the 26th pick, so not very good for that guy. Now in terms of free agency, if you look at what the Bulls did, I don't really see a ton of like major talent here, but it looks like Bogan Bogdanovic is the guy they ended up picking up. And they ended up getting the other Lopez brother because they got Brook Lopez. So I didn't even see that. Brook Lopez to pair up with Robin Lopez, Bogdanovic, and that looks like pretty much all they actually got there. If you look at the Cavaliers, LeBron is obviously still there at 99 overall. Crowder's there, Thompson, Cedi Osman's moving up a little bit. Wendell Carter, but I don't really see any free agents here for them. So, yeah, not a good look for them at all. Now that we've made it to season 2, this is the last real draft class that I'm kind of going to import to this. After that, it'll be auto-generated rookies. Now, you can see here, Zion Williamson is the cream of the crop. He's the #1 overall projected pick at this point. Bol Bol's in there, Cam Reddish, who's a stud, Isaiah Washington from the Jelly fam is in there too. We're going to send the 2nd season. We're going to see how the Bulls and the Cavs do, and if either one of these guys can do better than the 2nd round of the playoffs this season. Now, in season number 2, LeBron James flipped the script. Look at this, 32 points, almost 33, 8.5 rebounds, over 9 assists, 2 steals, a block and a half. I think Jordan's first MVP season we saw in this so far was a little bit better in my opinion, but that's almost a triple-double, shooting 55% from the field and 43% from the 3-point line. That's impressive. Now your Rookie of the Year goes to Michael Porter Jr., who averages 25 points a game with 7 rebounds, almost 4 assists, shot 55% from the field and 50% from 3-point range. Just like in real life, I think he'll be a stud. Hopefully he recovers from that injury, but he had a heck of a rookie campaign. Chris Bosh comes out here as the 6th man of the year. He was on the Clippers last year. Now he goes to the Suns, rejuvenating his basketball career. Good to see him back on the court. The Defensive Player of the Year goes to Michael Jordan. So we get a look at his stats. 30.5 points a game, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, almost 4 steals again in a season, a block a game, nearly the same percentage as LeBron. 3-point percentage wasn't as good for him, but still a good year. Andre Drummond gets your most improved player, averaging 17 and 12. And coach of the year again goes to Mike D'Antoni, 59 and 23 for the Rockets. The All-NBA first team looks like the scariest thing on planet Earth. Look at this, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook. The All-NBA first team looks like the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Michael Jordan, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Andre Drummond. I mean, Drummond is kind of like whatever for me, but still, that's a scary lineup to face. And if you were wondering if LeBron and MJ both repeated on the All-NBA defensive first team, well, they did. And for those of you curious about the rookies, this is kind of disgusting. Mike Porter, Marvin Bagley, Colin Sexton, DeAndre Ayton, and Luka Doncic all ended up being on your all-rookie team. And Luka Doncic went to the 76ers, which would be a really good fit for him in real life. Now, if we look at the standings, the Bulls ended up being your 4th seed, and then the Cavs ended up being your 2 seed, with the Bucks being the number 1 seed. So this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So we're going to go ahead and advance this first round to see what happens here. The Cavs are doing okay. The Bulls got eliminated? Oh boy. Okay, not good for the Bulls. They got 4-0 swept there. The Celtics end up moving on past them. The Bucks move on past the Pistons. LeBron and the Cavs barely beat the Raptors. A 4-3 series there. Now, 76ers versus the Cavs. Bucks versus the Celtics. LeBron could be playing Kyrie here in the next round, even with kind of a subpar team right now. Now it's 2-2. LeBron edges it out, and then the Celtics lost 4-1. On the other side, Memphis beat Golden State, and the Rockets beat OKC. So it's Memphis Rockets in the Western Conference Finals. That's kind of crazy to me. Now, let's see what happens here. Bucks versus the Cavs. Who's going to walk out of here with the W? The Cavs were up 2-0. Then it got tied 2-2. Then it went 3-3. And then they lost in Game 7. So we have a Bucks versus Rockets NBA Finals, which honestly, that would be pretty entertaining to watch. And the winner, the Houston Rockets. So Mike D'Antoni, Coach of the Year 2 years in a row, and he finally gets that NBA championship. As to no one's surprise, look who gets your NBA Finals MVP. James Harden, averaging 27 a game, 4 rebounds, almost 9 assists. Good overall performance by him. For the NBA draft, the Bulls only had 1 pick, and it was the 23rd pick in the first round. So they get Charles O'Bannon, who's a shooting guard, 71 overall, not bad value there at the end of the first round. The Cavs, on the other hand, well, they only had a second rounder at the 23rd spot, so they get a 67 overall center. Not good for the Cavs. At the start of Season 3, the Bulls are actually still keeping their core intact. Didn't really sign many, if any, free agents at all. So Jordan, still a 99 overall. Markkanen's coming around. He's an 82 now. This kid's a stud, so he's absolutely killing it. Chris Dunn, Portis, and Brook Lopez, also 80s overall. Darren Collison's here in the squad now. Bogdanovich is still there. Valentine. But I don't really see any free agents. They do have their rookie Charles O'Bannon, but nobody else really big on this team for him. The Cavs, however, definitely flex their muscle there in free agency. Look at the team right now. So again, LeBron still a 99. Wendell Carter's now up to an 81 overall. You got Tristan Thompson. DeMarre Carroll's a new acquisition in free agency. Zizic actually isn't that bad as a 78 at 22. You have Drew Holiday, Alec Burks, Adrian Payne, the big fella. They've got a lot of big men, I feel like, right now. Cedi Osman's a 77. Bryn Forbes, Terrence Jones comes in to give him some more length. Quinn Cook at a backup point guard spot. And then Troy Brown and Ish Smith bringing up the rear. So this team actually isn't that bad. I'm anxious to see who's going to do the best here in year number 3. And I did do another draft class that I actually found that was really good for year number 3. And you'll see some names that are kind of familiar here. The biggest one, though, LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball is eligible here. Right now, they project him at the number 2 pick. But another name that's really interesting is KJ Martin, who is the son of Kenyon Martin. And the other big name for a lot of you guys is going to be Sharif O'Neal, who's projected right now with the 16th pick coming out of Arizona. Could he go to the Suns? Could he end up in one of these teams? If he falls in the draft and either the Bulls or the Cavs got him, that would be huge. At the end of Season 3, LeBron James has solidified himself as the lead player in the NBA. Back-to-back MVPs now with 30 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal and a half and a block and a half basically. Percentages, still pretty good though. Your Rookie of the Year goes to Romeo Langford, who plays for the Hawks here. 21 points a game, almost 8 assists. This kid looks pretty good to me. If you go on 6th Man of the Year, Javon Quinterly ends up being there with 16.5 points a game. You go to Defensive Player of the Year, Andre Drummond there, again, killing it on the defensive side of the ball, 2 blocks per game. Most Improved Player goes to Rashawn Holmes, goes to the Clippers now, formerly the 76ers. And your Coach of the Year goes to Brett Brown, 59 and 23. Number 1 team in the entire NBA, the Philadelphia 76ers. Sam Hinkie's somewhere smiling right now. Hashtag trust the process. As for the All-NBA first team, LeBron James and Michael Jordan both repeat here. For the All-Defensive team, Michael Jordan returns, but I don't see LeBron James here. So is he on the second one? He is. So LeBron James ends up being in the second one, but he gets ousted by both Giannis and Draymond in this scenario. And for those of you guys that want to see the rookies again, Romeo Langford, obviously they're winning Rookie of the Year. Zion Williamson goes to the Charlotte Hornets and does well. RJ Barrett Harris there for Miami, Bobo there playing for the Wizards, and Cam Reddish for the Dallas Mavericks. Him plus Dennis Smith Jr., that's a nasty combo. Now, I'm a little blown away because the Lakers are the #1 seed on the West, and then on the East, the 76ers. So trust the process, and Lonzo Ball, they seem to be getting the job done. Now, we're going to advance this first round and see what happens. So basically, the Bulls barely got into the playoffs as the #8 seed. You can see the Cavaliers got the #3 seed. They're going to play the Knicks, and the Bulls, Michael Jordan's playing the 76ers. I don't know if he's actually going to win that game. So we're going to simulate right here. Wow, okay, the Bulls almost got swept, but they got eliminated 4-1. Now, as for the Cavs win their first round. They beat the Knicks 4-2. The Hawks lose theirs. The Wizards beat them, so it's going to be 76ers in Detroit, Cavs and the Wizards, OKC and the Rockets, and then Memphis versus Golden State. This is actually going to be a pretty good round, so we simulate this round to see what happens. The Cavs and the 76ers and the Warriors all swept their opponents. OKC wins 4-2 against the Rockets, so the defending champions are now gone. The Rockets are completely out of here. Cavs and 76ers is going to be really interesting. So we go ahead and simulate this one. Second time, I think it's 2 years in a row, the Cavs got eliminated in the conference final. So they lose there. The Golden State wins. So now it's Golden State versus Philly. I'm really anxious to see who's actually going to win this one. So let's go ahead and simulate this. Somewhere in the USA, Sam Hinkie is definitely smiling. Trust the process came to fruition in year #3. Philadelphia, #1 seed in the entire NBA, and now they're NBA champions. And I'm pretty sure most of you guys would have guessed this one, either him or Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons gets your finals MVP, 18 points a game, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, those are really good numbers. And he shot 52% from the 2-point line, 3-pointers. He was 20%, which is definitely trash. As we move on to the NBA draft, the Bulls actually had a good draft here. They drafted Sergey Martinez with the 15th pick in the first round. Now, he's got looks like a little thing by his name that says this player currently has a contract with an overseas team and is ineligible to sign an NBA contract for 1 year. So they will not get him, but they have his draft rights basically. His draft rights will remain with the drafting team until he's eligible to sign an NBA contract. So that's interesting. Really good player at 79 overall, but they won't have him for an entire year. They also end up getting William Hammonds, who's going to be a rebounding center, and they also get a raw prospect in Wenli Su, who I believe is, I have no idea. They don't even say what his position is. I'm going to assume he's a guard, but they decline to actually take both of those players. They're going to retain the rights for this guy, and they decline the rights for both of these guys. I kind of don't blame them. They're trash. Now, the Cavs in the first round had the 28th pick because they did so well. They end up signing PJ Fuller, who's a sharpshooter. Their second guy they drafted, they just declined to sign him, and again, I don't blame them. Now that we're entering season #4, I'm going to go ahead and sim this season, sim the 5th season, and show you guys kind of how these teams are doing at the 5th season. Now, to look at the Bulls roster before we sim, again, Jordan, Markkanen are the top 2 players, Bobby Portis there. Sergey Martinez is still, again, overseas, can't come over for another year. Then you have Bismack Biyombo, who they actually brought in. So they have 2 centers now, in Lopez and Biyombo. You also see both Holiday brothers, Drew and Justin Holiday, are here now. Rodney Magruder, Charles O'Bannon, and the rest of the roster is high-key trash. The Cavs and Dan Gilbert seem to be playing a little bit more in free agency or trades or something of that nature. So again, LeBron James is there with Wendell Carter, who's went up significant amounts of points so far in his career. Patrick Beverley's there, Tristan Thompson came back, as well as Zizic. Both of those guys are pretty much neck and neck at this point. Alec Burks is still there, Adrian Payne is there. Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't believe was there in year #3, so that's a new addition for them there. Troy Brown, the rookie, is getting a little bit better. Actually, he's dropped off 2 points, so that's interesting. Jerian Grant becomes the point guard. Briante Weber, Dante Exum comes there. I mean, he's kind of a journeyman so far. He hasn't really shown that he's crazy good at this point. Quinn Cook is also there, PJ Fuller, and that's the Cavs roster. So now I'm going to go ahead and sim a couple years in the future, get to year #5 for the playoffs, and we'll see how these teams are actually doing. Now, I've simmed ahead to year 5, and look who's still winning the MVP. LeBron James, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals, a block and a half pretty much, and decent field goal percentage. Now, your rookie of the year goes to Julian Newman. Man, we really are like crazy far in the future right now. But Julian Newman gets your rookie of the year with 20 points per game. Javon Quinterly, I think again for like the 3rd year in a row, gets 6th man of the year. Defensive player of the year goes to Michael Jordan. His stats were kind of insane. Look, it's 33 points a game, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 5.5 assists, almost 4 steals again. I don't know how this dude keeps getting 4 steals a game. And then Henry Ellenson, most improved player, even though his stats really weren't that good. Coach of the year goes to Tyronn Lue. #1 team in the entire NBA. Impressive, Tyronn. In year #5, LeBron James and Michael Jordan both find themselves on the All-NBA first team here, along with Russell Westbrook, Giannis, and then Charles Bassey out here actually is killing it for the Hornets. NBA, in terms of the defensive side, you can see Jordan is here. LeBron also gets back here. John Wall, in his old age of 31 now, is actually still doing good. And Charles Bassey, I feel like, is going to be one of the best players in the NBA because he's already 86 and he's killing it right now. If you move over here to the all-rookie first team, Julian Newman, Isaiah Todd, Jalen Green, Kyrie Walker, and Sergey Martinez, who now came over for the Bulls. Remember, he had a year off. Now he's back. Let's see how the teams did, though. If we take a look at the league leaders, Michael Jordan, obviously, as you guys probably imagine, led the league in scoring with LeBron right behind him. Michael Porter Jr. and Russell Westbrook, along with Kyrie, are your top 5 scorers as well. Andre Drummond is your #1 rebounder. Not surprised really there. Zion Williamson, though, 18, almost 19 points per game, nearly 12 rebounds a game, tied with Andre Drummond there for the league lead. This kid is impressive too. Lonzo Ball is now a 90 overall, and he's got 11 assists per game with John Wall just behind him. And LeBron, again, not too far, 4th place there, which isn't bad at all. Steals per game is kind of insane because Michael Jordan averaged 3.8, and then behind him is Chris Dunn, who also plays in his team, who got 2.4. Nuts. In blocks per game, my twin Rudy Gobert for the Memphis Grizzlies now, not the Utah Jazz, gets 2.4 blocks per game with Porzingis right behind him, and then Charles Bassey not too far behind either. As for the playoffs here in 2022, look at who's #1 in the West. Yeah, the Pelicans. Really, really weird. Now in the East, LeBron James and the Cavs are #1. The Bulls are #7. So they had been the 8th seed previously. Now they're #7. The Hornets are the 3rd team. This is just like really, really strange. So let's simulate this first round and see what happens. So can either one of these teams get out? Now the Cavs lost a game, lost 2 games, and the Bulls got eliminated by the Hawks. So Michael Jordan, what are you doing? So into the second round, you see the Nuggets, the Spurs, the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, the Hawks, the Hornets, which is again a really weird matchup in the playoffs, and then the Cavs and the 76ers. So if we go ahead and simulate that one, this is close. Wow. So the Cavs just barely inched that one out. I mean, the 76ers are great with Doncic, Simmons, and Embiid. That whole roster is stacked. But now it's going to be the Hawks and the Cavs versus the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. Again, did not expect to see this here, year #5. Now, the Cavs had trouble with Philly, but Atlanta, they just completely destroyed it. Even though Atlanta 4-0 the Hornets, that's kind of strange, but they get a 4-0 win there. The Timberwolves win on their side to go 4-1. So now we have Minnesota versus Cleveland, 2 very cold cities. Let's see what can happen here. So we're going to simulate this round. LeBron James has won an NBA championship before Michael Jordan. Now, here in year #5, that is impressive stuff. But let's see who wins the Finals MVP. I'm assuming LeBron. LeBron did 22.5 points per game, basically 6.5 rebounds, 9.5 assists, almost 2 steals, a block and a half or so. LeBron James, way to go. Now we've done 5 seasons. I'm going to do 5 more, but instead of making you guys sit through all that, I'm going to go ahead and sim through 5 seasons, so it'll just fast forward to that point. But to recap, Michael Jordan in the rookie year wins the MVP, and then LeBron gets it 4 consecutive years after that. If you look at Rookie of the Year, Julian Newman, Charles Bassey, Romeo Langford, Michael Porter Jr., and LeBron James kind of took home that award. On to 6th Man of the Year. Again, I told you guys, Javon Quinterly, this dude's won it 3 years in a row. Chris Bosh had it 2 years prior to that. On the defensive side, we saw Giannis, Michael Jordan, Andre Drummond, Bassey, and Michael Jordan as well getting that one. And then Most Improved Player, Henry Ellenson, Jaren Jackson, Rashawn Holmes, Andre Drummond, and then Kyle O'Quinn. As for the champions we've seen in these past 5 years, let's recap. So Golden State won here with Stephen Curry being the MVP. Houston won against Milwaukee. James Harden gets the MVP. Philly goes back-to-back years, beating Golden State in 1 year and then beating the Dallas Mavericks in another year there. Luka Doncic getting the MVP the second time, and the first time was Ben Simmons. And then most recently, LeBron James pulled it off in 2022, getting the MVP and beating the Minnesota Timberwolves. We finally hit year #10, and these rosters are significantly different from before. Look at this really quick. Michael Jordan is now 28 years of age. He has Lauri Markkanen at 87. Sergey Martinez, remember, he's the guy that was stashed overseas for a year and then came back. Tristan Thompson at 35, Isaiah Thomas at 37, my twin Rudy Gobert at 34 years of age. Then he has Chris Dunn, Charles O'Bannon, Trey Lyles, Cody Riley, Kyle Anderson, former Spurs players here now, Jaden Springer, Shannon Mark, Ricky Welch. A lot of these guys are kind of like randomly created players, but that's still an interesting roster for them. The Cavaliers, again, LeBron James still a 99 overall for them, but they have Wendell Carter, who they've somehow kept this dude, and his contract is huge. 4 years, $104 million right now for him at a 95 overall. Jonathan Isaac has joined this team, which is crazy. They have Grayson Allen, former Duke player out here. Hopefully he doesn't trip anybody, but Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Jalen Hands joins him as a point guard. Tony Bradley, Jeremy Grant is still here after a couple of seasons. Rashawn Holmes is still here. Darren Hughes, Derek Walton Jr., I thought it was going to be Sharif O'Neal, but it's actually Sebastian O'Neal. DJ Slaughter, Theo Pinson, and that is the very last player on this roster. These teams are totally different than before. Now, before we sim this final season, I want to give you guys a good look at like what happened in the NBA, who the best players are, and we'll kind of look at the league records and check all that at the end of this video. But let's look at where some of the top players are. Now, Giannis, he's still in Milwaukee at this point. RJ Barrett's with the Miami Heat. Michael Porter Jr. is still with Sacramento, which again, kind of crazy to me. Marvin Bagley's with Phoenix. Zion Williamson is in Charlotte. DeAndre Ayton is also in Charlotte. I mean, that is a dynamic duo. The small forward of the future, the center of the future. I don't know how they got both of those guys. Amani Bates is in Utah. Ben Simmons is still in Philly and killing it at a 97 overall. Kyrie Walker, not Kemba Walker. Kyrie Walker's in Utah as well. Charles Bassey is there. So think about this for a second. The Charlotte Hornets have Charles Bassey, 96 overall center. DeAndre Ayton, 98 overall center. And Zion Williamson, 98 overall small forward. That's absolutely incredible. Karl-Anthony Towns is still in Minnesota. RJ Langford, Cam Reddish. We're gonna go through these. LaMelo Ball is here at a 96 overall, playing for the Pacers. Bol is here in DC. You got Kristaps Porzingis left New York. Well, technically, he went to Brooklyn. He said, you know what, the Knicks, I'm done with you. The Nets, though. The Nets are the new move, apparently, for Kristaps. Wendell Carter, Jalen Green, Zion Harmon, KJ Martin, Kenya Martin's sons out here. Cash Stanley, Colin Sexton's in Phoenix, too. I mean, they have a dynasty with Marvin Bagley and Colin Sexton. Kyrie at 34 is still killing it at 94 overall. Scotty Lewis is out here. Anthony Davis, Irvin Early, Terrence Clark. Like, look at how many major players. Even Diamond Stone has found his footing in the NBA and has become really good. Oh, and Devin Booker, if you're wondering, is still in Phoenix, which I just have no words for that. And if you remember, the Pelicans were actually doing really well. Well, look who their point guard is. Yeah, Dwayne Wade's son, he's in the NBA now. And the last three players we'll look at are Lonzo Ball at a 91 overall now, still leading the Lakers and doing really well. Jason Tatum is now playing in OKC, which dude left Boston, that's kind of crazy. And Andrew Wiggins is still in Minnesota with Karl-Anthony Towns. At the end of season number 10, it's not LeBron James, it's not Michael Jordan, it is DeAndre Ayton who walks out with the MVP. 26 a game, 10 rebounds a game, a block and a half. I mean, like, he was still pretty impressive, but nothing crazy like Jordan and LeBron. At the end of year number 10, the final year of this little experiment, DeAndre Ayton walks out with the MVP. Not LeBron, not Michael Jordan, but DeAndre Ayton with 26 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal and a block a game, which, I mean, those are good numbers, but they're not as crazy as what LeBron and Michael Jordan ended up putting up when they won MVP. Now, we won a Rookie of the Year. This goes to Hersey Miller, who's a generated guy, so we'll just look past him. Sixth Man of the Year goes to Chandler Larson. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Charles Bassey. So you see DeAndre Ayton get MVP. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Charles Bassey. Then you get Most Improved Player. Jalen Hands is now on the Cavs. So the Cavs made a big trade for Jalen Hands. 15 points a game, 5 assists, a steal. Coach of the Year goes to Michael Stauffer of the Timberwolves, which they were 62-20. Holy crap, they're good. Both Jordan and LeBron come out with your all-NBA first team. As you can see, Jalen Green is also there, as well as Michael Porter and DeAndre Ayton. Both LeBron and Michael Jordan made an appearance on the all-NBA defensive first team too. And LaMelo Ball, he's killing it right now. This dude is on your all-NBA second team, along with Romeo Langford, Ben Simmons, Zion Williamson, and Charles Bassey. Now, this final year of the playoffs is kind of insane because the Bulls didn't make the playoffs and the Cavs didn't make the playoffs either. So we can go ahead and simulate the playoffs now and to see who actually walks out here with a W. A couple of sweeps actually early on, which is interesting. The Hornets are a powerhouse, but the Hornets barely beat the Nets, and then the Timberwolves beat them in the NBA Finals. The Minnesota Timberwolves are an NBA champion. That's kind of weird to say. And then the MVP of the NBA Finals ends up being Javon Quinterly, who gets 12 points a game, 11 assists. I mean, those numbers don't jump out on you, but he ran that offense perfectly, apparently. We did it. We finished 10 years of NBA 2K18's MyLeague to see who's the best player between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Now, if we go ahead and check the MVP in a couple things, Michael Jordan won in year 1, and then LeBron won it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in a row. Until DeAndre Ayton says, move aside, old fella, this is my award to win now. To recap the Rookie of the Year, we see Michael Porter Jr., Romeo Langford, Bassey, Newman, Harmon, Early. Then these last three guys, I believe, were auto-generated players, so they don't really matter as much. Sixth Man of the Year goes to Chandler Lawson 2 years in a row. Javon Quinterly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years in a row. Chris Bosh had it 2 years before him. That dude killed it. And then he gets the Finals MVP, which is a crazy way to finish off his career. As for the defensive player, Charles Bassey, Giannis gets it twice. Jordan gets it 3 years in a row. Bassey then gets it again here. Andre Drummond, and then Michael Jordan. So Jordan definitely got that 4 times in his career so far. So 4 out of 10 years isn't bad. For the most improved player, started with Kyle O'Quinn. We end up seeing Jaren Jackson, Ellison, Javon Quinterly got it there too. DJ Wilson, Rashawn Hammond, Chandler Lawson, and then Jalen Hands gets it in the final year, the 10th year. If we look at the NBA champions, let's see who won the most here. So Golden State won, Houston won, Philly won 2 times in a row, the Cavs won 2 times in a row, which is great. LeBron James getting MVP both times. Boston wins once with Kyrie getting that. I think Boston actually eliminated the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals, which is cool for them. The Suns had dominant performances where the Bulls got there 2 years in a row. Look at this. The Bulls got beat 4-0 in one and then 4-1 in another. But I mean, with a team with Marvin Bagley and Colin Sexton, a tough team to get by. And then obviously in the 10th year, Minnesota won with Javon Quinterly getting the Finals MVP. Something I think is really funny to actually see though is that Michael Jordan and LeBron James had the league lead in points every single year in the 10 years. So you got Jordan getting it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and then LeBron obviously getting it 5 times as well. Rebounds per game was kind of all over the place for the most part, but you also saw rebounds per game kind of had a common thread here. Andre Drummond got it a ton, Vernon Carey, Marvin Bagley, Bo actually got it in the last season as well, but for the most part, Drummond killed that. If you look at assists per game, yeah, I mean, Russell Westbrook did pretty well, but Alonzo Ball said, step aside, man, this is my league, and he killed it. Steals per game, in my opinion, should have given Michael Jordan the Defensive Player of the Year every single season. Look at how many steals he had. I mean, every single season there, at least 3 steals per game. Blocks per game pretty much fluctuated. You saw Charles Bassey, Jared Allen, Embiid, Porzingis, Rudy Gobert twice, Porzingis again, Hassan Whiteside, and then DeAndre Jordan with Jeff Withey leading in 2018. I don't think anyone saw that coming. As for the Hall of Fame, we saw Tracy McGrady, George McGinnis, Paul Pierce, Dirk, Vince, Dwayne Wade, Dwight Howard, Chris Bosh, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, and then John Wall retired in 2027. That's like 17, 18 years in the league for him. To sum up my thoughts on who the greatest player of all time ends up being, I gotta go with LeBron James. Look, he won the MVP 8 times and Michael Jordan's 1. And if you want to talk championships, in a 10-year span with some of the craziest rookies we've ever seen in the NBA, LeBron won it twice, Michael Jordan didn't win it a single time. He fell short 2 times against the same team. That's not the GOAT if you ask me. So if you guys want to see more stuff like this, please help me out by hitting the like button down below. Subscribe for more content like this one. Check the playlist on the screen right now to watch another video at this exact moment. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.